If you're considering a fresh start overseas after the 2024 election, you're not alone. Reportedly, more than 24% of US citizens considering leaving the US exclusively for political reasons. Welcome to the Europe Curious video podcast, where we help you to travel, study, or live in Europe, the most amazing continent on Earth. My name is Wilfried Lemkuhler, and in today's episode I talk about the 10 countries that have the lowest income thresholds for expats. And those income thresholds are the most deciding factors for the success of your visa application. But first things first, I just recovered from a nasty flu and my voice is still a bit, rough. So please be patient with me. However, before I get deeper into this subject, please keep in mind that I am not an immigration lawyer or otherwise legally qualified to give you advice. What I'm about to share with you are fundamentals based on my own experience traveling extensively for 40 years and living in 3 different countries, 2 of them in Europe. Plus, from what I've heard from other expats, travel vloggers, and information available on government websites. Therefore, before you take any actions towards moving abroad, you need to do your own research and plan carefully. Now let's get started with number 10 on our list, Germany. Yes, I know, I hear that a lot. The thought to move to Germany can perhaps be a little bit, let's say intimidating, but that is totally undeserved. And I say this with absolute confidence, since I spent the first 40 years of my life in awesome Germany. There is just no other place in the world where, simply put, everything just works. Everything is done just the way it's supposed to be done. No shortcuts. Plus, in Germany, super efficient public transportation, awesome infrastructure, beautiful landscapes, and a vibrant cultural scene. Quality of life in Germany is top-notch. From healthcare to pretzels. Germany is a country where modern living meets old world charm. And you will love it. A quick side note regarding our cost of living comparisons. According to Numbeo, the US city of Charlotte, North Carolina, ranks median in the US for cost of living. And for that reason, in this podcast, we compare the cost of living of every destination country to Charlotte. However, for Germany, where cost of living can drastically change from one city to another, like from Munich to Chemnitz, we also choose a city where cost of living is median as well. And that city in Germany is Hanover. For all other destination countries, where cost of living is much less dynamic, we compare their capital city, which is usually the most expensive city in the country, to the American city of Charlotte. However, since Trump has placed the entire US economy in a downhill trajectory, food prices have gone through the roof. And as typical for an inflation, where food prices can climb from one minute to the next, the prices that I can give you are merely estimates. But now, back to Germany and its cost of living. A 3-course meal for 2 at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90 and Hanover $72. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte $94, Hanover $51. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte $1,900 and Hanover $950. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte $1,650, Hanover $650. Overall cost of living in Hanover is currently about 21% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. And what about safety? Is Germany a safe country? Well, I have lived in Germany for 40 years, where I still have family and friends. And I can say that I honestly believe Germany is indeed a safe country. This is also reflected in Numbeo's very conservative Safety and Crime Index, where Germany has an above median rating for safety. But I think, and that is probably true for most destinations, it is always a good idea to keep your eyes open and apply common sense. Now, let's talk about the key elements to your expat future in Germany. Germany offers aspiring expats a retirement visa and a digital nomad visa. No matter what visa you are aiming for, you'll need to show that you have an income from a stable and secure source. The visa income requirements are $1,500 a month for the retiree visa and $2,000 a month for the digital nomad visa. Before you can apply for a German visa, you need to have secured health insurance and housing. Number 9 on our list is Albania. Since the fall of its communism in 1991, Albania went through a remarkable transformation into a well-functioning democracy. Albania is quite beautiful, super affordable, and the people are very welcoming. In Albania, it will be easy to forget about the chaos Trump and his administration, well, if you can call it that way, unleashed at home. Let's take a closer look at the cost of living in Albania. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90, Tirana $53. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte $94 and Tirana $17. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte $1,950, Tirana $600. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte $1,600, Tirana $390. Overall cost of living in Tirana is currently about 40% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. As you can see, the numbers are quite remarkable, but is Albania safe? Overall, Albania is widely considered a safe place with a safety and crime rating of above median for safety. And here we are at Albania's visa options. Please keep in mind that part of your visa application will be proof of health insurance and housing. Albania offers a retirement and a digital nomad visa. To apply for a retirement visa, you need to have an income of around $1,400 a month and $850 for the digital nomad visa. Like for all digital nomad or freelancers, it could perhaps be challenging to show that your income is secure and sustainable. Number 8 on our list is Guatemala. One of the top reasons to consider Guatemala is the country's affordability and beauty. There is the volcanic lake Atitlan, the ancient Mayan ruins, colorful local markets and friendly people. Guatemala's nickname is Land of the Eternal Spring, due to its spring-like climate all year around. The cost of living in Guatemala is remarkably affordable. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90, Guatemala City $49. A monthly pass for public transportation, Charlotte $94, Guatemala City $14. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte $1,900, Guatemala City $665. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte $1,600 and Guatemala City $400. Overall, cost of living in Guatemala City is currently about 43% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. Even though Guatemala is generally considered a safe place, it has a below median safety rating. For some people, that can be a little bit of a concern. In Guatemala, like in most countries, a visa application starts with proof of health insurance and housing. Guatemala offers a retirement as well as a digital nomad visa. For both applications, you need to show that you can support yourself financially. The required dollar amount is a little bit vague, but from what I've heard, $1,200 a month for either visa option is accepted. Now let's talk about the number 7, El Salvador. El Salvador is a small yet vibrant country with stunning coastlines, volcanoes, lush jungles, plus warm and welcoming people. But is it affordable? A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant in Charlotte, $90, San Salvador, $33. A monthly public transportation pass in Charlotte, $94, in San Salvador, $20. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment inside the city center in Charlotte, $1,900, and San Salvador, $800. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte, $1,600, San Salvador, $650. Overall cost of living in San Salvador is currently about 44% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. But how safe is this place? From what I've heard, El Salvador is generally considered a safe country. However, it does have a below median safety rating at the very conservative Numbeo Safety and Crime Index. So keep your eyes open and apply common sense, and you should be okay. El Salvador offers a retirement and a digital nomad visa. But before you can apply for either one of those visas, you need to secure health insurance and suitable housing. Plus, for the retirement visa, you need to show an income of about $1,100 per month, and for the digital nomad visa, the income requirement is $1,460 a month. Now let's go to our number 6, Panama. Panama has always been one of the best places to settle down for American expats. Panama offers affordable living, gorgeous beaches, a tropical yet balanced climate, and vibrant cities with some of the friendliest people around. Let's take a closer look what it would cost to live in Panama. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte, $90, Panama City, $58. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte, $94, Panama City, $25. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment inside the city center, Charlotte, $1,900, and Panama City, $1,100. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte, $1,600, and Panama City, $830. Overall cost of living in Panama City is currently about 35% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. But is it safe? I think it is fair to say that Panama is overall a safe country with a better than median safety rating. However, from what I've heard, because of Trump's crazy talks about stealing the Panama Canal from the people of Panama, there is currently a bit of an attitude towards America and perhaps American people. So I guess at the moment it is probably best to wait and see where this is all going. However, if you have obtained health insurance and housing, you can start working on your visa application. For a retirement visa in Panama, you need to prove a minimum monthly income of $1,000 And despite its confusing name, the Panamanian short stay visa for remote workers is actually a long-term visa for remote workers, freelancers, and digital nomads. The monthly income requirement for this visa is $3,000. This brings us to number 5, Costa Rica. If you want to escape Trump's America, Costa Rica is an incredible choice. It has amazing beaches, a warm, tropical vibe, and the locals are super friendly. And most importantly, Costa Rica is very affordable. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90, San Jose $60. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte $94, San Jose $39. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte $1,900, San Jose $810. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, in Charlotte $1,600 and San Jose $520. Overall, cost of living in San Jose is currently about 24% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. And most people would probably feel that Costa Rica is generally a safe country. However, it has a Numbeo safety and crime rating of below median for safety. So be aware of this, keep your eyes open and apply common sense. After you have obtained health insurance and housing, you can apply for your visa. For your retirement visa, you need a monthly retirement income of at least $1,000, and for a digital nomad visa, you need a monthly income of at least $3,000. Number 4 on our list, Nicaragua. I read a lot in expat forums that Nicaragua can be quite amazing for US expats, especially the capital city of Managua, located at beautiful Lake Managua. Nicaragua offers vibrant culture and beautiful landscapes, with tropical jungles, alpine mountains, awesome beaches and stunning views. Let's talk about Nicaragua's cost of living. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant in Charlotte, $90, Managua, $30. A monthly public transportation pass in Charlotte, $94, but in Managua there is no public transportation. So that can be a little bit of an issue for some people. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment inside the city center, Charlotte $1,900, Managua $325. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, in Charlotte $1,600 and in Managua $250. Overall, cost of living in Managua is currently about 26% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. And how safe is Nicaragua? From what I've heard, Nicaragua is generally a safe country. However, keep in mind that it has a safety and crime index of slightly below median for safety. So make it a habit to keep your eyes open and apply common sense. Now let's talk about your Nicaraguan visa options. Nicaragua offers a retirement visa, which requires proof of a monthly income of at least $600 from a secure and sustainable source. And at the moment, Nicaragua does not have an official digital nomad visa. But you can still live permanently in Nicaragua if your monthly social security or pension income is $600 or more. In any case, you also need to provide proof of health insurance and housing. And number 3 on our list are the Philippines. I think that everyone looking for a place outside of the US should take a really good look at the Philippines. It's an awesome place, with stunning beaches, warm and friendly people, rich culture and affordable cost of living. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90, Manila $30. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte $94, Manila $8.50. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte $1,900, Manila $500. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte $1,600, Manila $250. Overall, cost of living in Manila is currently about 51% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. But how safe are the Philippines? Overall, the Philippines is probably a safe place. However, it does have a safety and crime index of slightly below median for safety. But I think, as always, it is a good habit to keep your eyes open and apply common sense. To stay in the Philippines on a retirement visa, if you are 50 years or older, you must have a pension of at least $800 a month and make a deposit of $10,000 at a Philippine bank. If you are 50 years or older, without a pension, you must make a deposit of $20,000. The minimum income requirement for the digital nomad visa is approximately $2,000 a month, and I believe a bank deposit is not required. And for any of those three options, the applicant must provide proof of health insurance and housing. This brings us to number 2 on our list, Portugal. Portugal is just an amazing spot, not only for a dream vacation, but also for American expats. So it really comes to no surprise that aspiring expats flocking to this country in droves. Portugal is just the place where life is good. You have an awesome coastline, delicious wine, food and pastries, plus rich history around every corner, and not to forget, generally welcoming, warm-hearted and friendly people. It is a true gem for any expat. So let's compare some numbers. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte $90, Lisbon $55. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte $94, Lisbon $40. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment inside the city center, Charlotte $1,900, Lisbon $1,400. Rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte $1,600, Lisbon $1,100. Overall, cost of living in Lisbon is currently about 34% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. Portugal is one of the few European countries I have no direct experience with. Nevertheless, it has a reputation of being generally a safe country with a safety and crime index of above median for safety. But it never hurts to keep your eyes open and apply common sense. For aspiring expats, Portugal offers a retirement visa with an income requirement of only $900, or the digital nomad visa that requires $3,000 a month. For both visa options, you need to prove health insurance and housing. And here we are at number 1 on our list of the 10 cheapest countries you can become an expat with relative ease in 2025. And that country is Turkey. If you look to escape Trump's America on a budget, then West Turkey is quite the spot. In Turkey, you would live in a place where ancient history meets a very modern world. Perhaps more so than in any other place on earth. West Turkey's cultural heritage is on display everywhere you go. And the food is out of this world. and probably very different from what you've ever had before. And most importantly, Turkey has ridiculously low visa income requirements. But for now, let's take a look at cost of living in Turkey. A 3-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant, Charlotte, $90, Istanbul, $51. A monthly public transportation pass, Charlotte, $94, Istanbul, $43. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center, Charlotte, $1,900, Istanbul, $950. And rent for the same apartment outside the city center, Charlotte, $1,600, and Istanbul, $570. Overall, cost of living in Istanbul is currently about 42% lower than in Charlotte, North Carolina. West Turkey has a reputation of being a safe area with a safety and crime rating of median for safety. Plus, from my own experience, I cannot say anything negative about West Turkey. But still, keep your eyes open and apply common sense. Turkey does not have a retirement visa, but you can stay in the country with what Turkey calls a residence permit. To obtain one, you must provide proof of a sufficient income to support yourself. In Turkey, that amount equals to the country's minimum monthly wage, and that is currently $625 a month. Yes, you heard that right, $625 a month. However, a digital nomad visa requires a minimum monthly income of $3,000. Please don't ask me why. I have no idea. Plus, as always, both visa options require proof of health insurance and housing. There you have it, folks. The 10 cheapest countries you can become an expat with relative ease in 2025. And I'm sure it contains something for every serious aspiring expat. There are budget places and expensive options. I showed you countries for adventurers and potential expats looking for something more aligned with progressive Western social values. You might say something like a robust economy, impeccable infrastructure, and well-maintained public service. If you extend on today's podcast and you do your own research, you will find a place that suits you and make your expat ambition become reality. A quick tip. Pretty soon I will release inside videos on how to apply for visas and what to expect in the process, like finding a place to rent and more. So if you're interested in more information, then please like this video and subscribe to my channel, so YouTube can inform you as soon as my videos come out. And thanks for watching.